you are watching Shalom World News. I'm Marina Grossu from Washington, D.C. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. Pope Francis is making a call for peace in the Holy Land while acknowledging Israel's right to self-defense. During the Wednesday general audience, the Holy Father said that those who are attacked have a right to defend themselves. Hamas militants launched an unexpected attack on the southern region of Israel on Saturday, forcing a strong retaliatory offensive by Israeli Defense Force personnel. Nearly 2,300 people have been killed on both sides and thousands wounded as Israel prepares for a ground war in Gaza to eliminate terrorists. Expressing grief over the countless deaths and injuries, Pope Francis is also calling for dialogue and fraternity. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken reassured Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today of America's support during a trip to the Middle East, saying that we're not going anywhere. Blinken also promised to try to help secure the release of hostages kidnapped by Hamas, some thought to be Americans, and advance talks with Israelis and Egyptians on providing a safe passage for Gaza civilians out of the enclave before the possible Israeli ground invasion. Meanwhile, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni had a telephone conversation with U.S. President Joe Biden, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, French President Emmanuel Macron, and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz regarding the situation in the Middle East. The five heads of state strongly condemned the horrible crimes committed by Hamas. Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzaballa also expressed his sorrow and anguish over the horror in Israel and Gaza. Speaking at the general audience on Wednesday, Pope Francis expressed his profound support and solidarity with the people of Afghanistan who are suffering as a result of the devastating earthquakes that rocked the nation. Afghanistan's Taliban administration revised the death toll from the series of earthquakes to over 1,000 deaths. The most recent earthquake struck around 30 kilometers north of the provincial capital, Herat. In his appeal, Pope Francis expressed concern for the Afghan people, highlighting the staggering human cost incurred as a result of these natural calamities, including deaths of women and children. Measuring 7.6 on the Richter scale, the quake near the Hindu Kush Mountains left thousands dead, wounded, and missing. There is an urgent need for food, clean water, medical supplies, and shelter. Thousands of Catholics took part in the Eucharistic procession as part of the Napa Institute's Principled Entrepreneurship Conference in New York City on Tuesday. Well-known speaker and podcaster Father Mike Schmitz concelebrated the Holy Mass with about 25 priests prior to the procession. Napa Institute's chairperson Tim Bush said that one of the Mass intentions for the day was peace in Israel. He also specifically thanked the Sisters of Life for their participation in the annual Eucharistic procession. Magi Center President Father Robert Spitzer was among the speakers at this year's Principled Entrepreneurship Conference. At a time when different dioceses and parishes across America are embarking upon endeavors to recount the greatest love story of God for mankind through the Blessed Sacrament, a Catholic parish in California has begun a unique endeavor to foster the Holy Eucharist and renew the faith in the real presence. The immersive spiritual initiative entitled the Eucharistic Miracle Experience 2023 has been undertaken by St. Joseph's Catholic Church in Modesto, California. More information can be found at eme2023.com.
Catholic bishops from around the United States of America have taken the initiative to organize the National Eucharistic Revival, a movement aimed at strengthening the waning faith in the real presence. The parish of St. Joseph in Modesto, California, has launched a breakthrough multimedia devotional experience, Eucharistic Miracle Experience 2023, which runs from September 29 to October 22 in an effort to develop unshakable trust in the Holy Eucharist. This immersive experience uses audiovisual methods to provide viewers with an in-depth experience of the Blessed Sacrament and how it is indeed the body and blood of Christ.
We have the devotion that we're calling the experience of the Eucharist, and it's an immersive devotional experience because it begins with video. So we're using video, which most people get their information and their entertainment now through video. So we're using video as the start to bring people and to kind of help them clear their mind once they sit in our video immersion room.
The parish devised 10 Eucharistic stations, similar to the Stations of the Cross. Each station leads people on a fictional journey with a holy monk who is nearing the end of his life and is on his way to receive the Blessed Sacrament one last time. Accompanying him rather reluctantly is his inquisitive, unbelieving nephew. During the journey, the nephew questions the monk about the futility of the enterprise, to which he uses biblical narratives to explain the Holy Eucharist. The narrative and each station demonstrate how God's plan of salvation can be seen across the Old Testament before being finally fulfilled in Christ. It starts with the Exodus and includes incidents such as God providing manna to the Israelites in the desert. The narrative goes on to explain how Christ gave the apostles the power to change ordinary bread into his body and blood at the Last Supper. Finally, the journey concludes with the nephew's conversion and unwavering faith in the real presence. The fictional journey offers a deeply immersive spiritual experience to its audience.
When you go through the immersion process and you're listening to the commentary, you realize that we're not any different than them. That we have the same experiences in our life today as that they're representing in the film. And so, it makes it real for us. Makes it real and tangible and relative for our own faith.
A teenage girl shared how the tale of the monk and his nephew helped her dispel lingering doubts from her mind.
It's very hard being Christian or just religious. So, you want to have these beliefs like, yeah, God's real. But then the rest of the world is like, no, he's not real. And, or just no, we're like bad, like put religion in a bad light. So then you start to think, maybe they're right. Maybe religion is bad and I shouldn't be believing these things. So I feel like the story is a good story, but it's also kind of like I could put it into many different, I can just see in many different ways that relates to me.
The parish hopes that this special endeavor will bring countless doubting Thomases to unflinching faith in the presence of Jesus in the Holy Eucharist. SW News, California.
New data released by the Guttmacher Institute reveals that abortions in the U.S. state of North Carolina decreased by more than 30% after the state passed new abortion restrictions on July 1st, including a 12-week ban on the procedure. More than 4,200 abortions were carried out in North Carolina abortion facilities in June, but only 2,920 were carried out in July. Abortion rates in neighboring states did not increase at a corresponding rate, indicating that women in North Carolina did not go to neighboring states for abortions. The 12-week ban included a new requirement that abortion patients visit an abortion facility in person for a consultation at least 72 hours before their procedure. It's unclear whether the 12-week ban or the 72-hour waiting period contributed more to the decline in abortions. The author of the report said the magnitude of the drop is surprising. In the American state of Ohio, in-person voting for a ballot to decide on the issue of abortion in November got underway on Wednesday. Voters are going to decide the issue after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade last June. This fall, Ohio will be the only state to place the abortion question before voters. It will be a testing ground for messaging before the 2024 elections, when the issue will be on the ballot in more states. Poll officials are predicting heavier than normal turnout in the election because of the high-profile campaigning over Issue 1, which seeks to enshrine abortion through a constitutional amendment in Ohio. In Italy, once again, the controversy over the display of crucifixes in classrooms has erupted. This time, a group of teachers and parents of the Edoardo Foccarini Middle School in Carpi, Modena, are protesting against the removal of the crucifixes from classrooms on the orders of the director, Federica Anzaloni. During renovation work in the summer, the crucifixes were removed and they were not ordered to be replaced once the work was over. Federica says that crucifixes belong in a church and not in a school. Parents and teachers are objecting to it, and they have garnered signatures for a letter they sent to the head teacher asking for an explanation. Statutes dating back to the 1920s mandate the display of crucifixes in classrooms, and they have not been repealed. In Brazil, the Chamber of Deputies approved a bill on Tuesday promoted by conservative lawmakers proposing an end to same-sex unions. In the nation with the largest number of Catholics, same-sex unions have been recognized since 2011. If it is approved in the chamber, 2 other commissions will debate the text of the legislation, followed by the plenary session of deputies. If it is supported by a majority, it will continue to the Senate. The commission, dominated by conservative members aligned with former President Jair Bolsonaro, to approve the proposal. The vote was taken after the intense discussion replete with religious references in spite of the opposition from the progressives close to President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Proponents of the ban resuscitated a project from 2007 that was blocked, claiming that it had been going through Parliament before the court granted recognition to same-sex unions. Ukraine's parliament took a decisive step on Monday by officially registering a draft law that, if passed, would grant the authorities the power to impose a ban on the activities of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church with strong ties to Moscow. This move underscores the ongoing tensions between Ukraine and Russia, as well as the complex religious landscape within the Eastern European country. The church stands accused by Kyiv of allegedly undermining Ukraine's unity and engaging in collaboration with Russia in the wake of Moscow's full-scale invasion in February 2022, but the church strongly denies these charges. An act of vandalism has been reported from the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Broussard in the U.S. state of Louisiana. According to Associate Pastor Father Casey Dugas, the incident took place on Monday when unknown persons inflicted damage on a statue of Jesus in the front of the church. Photographs show that the face of Christ was damaged. The fingers depicting the sign of benediction on the statue's right hand were also knocked off by the assailants. Other commercial establishments in the vicinity have also been damaged. Chief of Police Vance Olivier said that they have a person of interest and are looking into the incident. Meanwhile, in Jennings, 2 persons have been booked for vandalizing the Jesus Worship Center with spray-painted words related to Satanism. President Ryan Jurgensen of the Board of Sunol Glen Unified School District in California has revealed that he has been subjected to a series of death threats. This alarming development comes in the wake of a controversial decision made by the board to prohibit the display of all flags, with the exception of the U.S. flag and the California state flag. The ban notably includes LGBTQ pride flags, sparking intense debate and raising concerns about the safety and well-being of those involved in the decision-making process. The rationale behind this decision, as stated by Jurgensen, is to ensure that no particular group is given preferential treatment over others. In spite of heavy criticism, this ban was further reinforced in a subsequent vote held on Tuesday evening. Australia's Christian schools have made a fervent appeal to the Albanese government, seeking to reconsider the existing religious discrimination laws. This call comes in the wake of discussions surrounding the potential implementation of a federal Human Rights Act. The Association of Christian Schools, representing a significant portion of the Christian education sector, has expressed concerns regarding the implication of such legislation on religious freedom. In its statement, the association has criticized the religious school exemptions granted under so-called anti-discrimination and equal opportunity legislation. Today, the church celebrates the feast of Blessed Carlo Acutis, patron of computer programmers and the youth. Acutis was born in May 1991 and died at the age of 15 of promyelocytic leukemia. Acutis is an Italian Catholic youth and website designer born in the UK, who is best known for documenting Eucharistic miracles and the approved Marian apparitions around the world, and cataloging them onto a website which he launched shortly before his death. He was beatified on October 10, 2020. One miracle was attributed to Blessed Acutis in November 2019, where he was petitioned in the healing of a 7-year-old child who was born with a pancreatic defect, and then was miraculously healed. A second miracle is needed to advance Blessed Carlo Acutis to sainthood, so petition him to intercede for you and your family. And those are your latest headlines. Join us again tomorrow for more. You can also visit us at swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.